And welcome to WNY News Now election coverage here on the Democratic primary night. I'm Justin Gould, joined by my colleagues Rory Polero to my left and Matt Hummel all the way to the far left. Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks so much for being here with us on a pretty exciting night for a big group of Democratic candidates.
Well, usually primaries are not, unless it's a presidential primary with 17 people running, usually they're not all that exciting. But this one is because there are 5 candidates, and if you look at their resumes and their backgrounds, they all have unique qualifications.
Absolutely. And Matt, this is one of the biggest primaries in terms of number of candidates that we've seen here recently in the district.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. At the last one, I'm pretty sure John Plum and then maybe 1 or 2 more people ran for the Democrats, and then it's been just Tom Reed for the last few different times, and that's to be expected because if, say, you're the Republicans, for example, if Tom Reed keeps winning, you don't want to rock the boat, most likely, by having another candidate. So, yeah, but this is definitely a primary that's been talked about for a lot for the last year. I know a lot of people have stated, both on our website and just in general in the community, for whatever reason, they don't want to see Tom Reed again. So I know a lot of people are, trying to figure out how to get rid of him. So it'll be interesting to see the turnout.
Absolutely.
Well, when you talk about how, because we have Tom Reed's been in for, 8 years now or something?
8 or 9, yeah.
8 or 9, yeah. That they say the best way to become elected to something is be the incumbent. And that's the challenge, whoever wins this. But I think what the Democrats are being offered here, a lot of their stances are the same. They're the party line. But every one of these candidates has a different background and a different curriculum vitae, if you will. So there's something for everybody who's a Democrat. If you like certain things, Tracy Mitrano's your vote. Ian Golden represents other things. Max Dellapia brings a military background. Eddie Sundquist, local guy, he brings another background, and Linda Andre also. They all have different ideas. There are common things that they all agree in, otherwise they wouldn't all be Democrats or any party members. But their backgrounds offer such a varied choice that there's something for everybody if you're a Democrat looking for someone to vote for.
And speaking of Eddie Sundquist, he's pretty much the only local candidate from here in Chautauqua County. And we can take a live look now at his campaign office, which is also his legal office on 3rd Street. In fact, just pointing out former Councilman Greg Rabb there, you see in this kind of center of that shot right by the door, who was running on a different ticket this evening as well.
I think...
Right, Matt, didn't you say that Rabb was running on the, there's the women equality ticket?
No.
Mitrano's the only one.
What happened was, I think you heard me saying that there's Greg Rabb, as we were talking about Mitrano being on the ticket.
Mitrano's the only candidate of the 5 that's on it here in the county anyway.
Right, and that can vary from district to district, correct?
Well, and it's a party that, frankly, until this year's primary, I never heard of.
Right. So our Ryan Hedrick is there right now at the Sundquist election night party. He spoke with Eddie Sundquist, the candidate, a little bit earlier on before our broadcast.
Democratic primaries right here on WNY News Now, and it is an exciting night for many of the candidates, culminating at their headquarters or wherever they're hosting their parties, in a night they will never forget. Eddie Sundquist, one of those men, and you put blood, sweat, and tears into this campaign. To think back to when it first started to now, how much work? Give us some perspective, Eddie.
Sure. So it has been a lot of work. It's meeting folks across the district, a lot of sitting on porches, in living rooms, knocking
at town halls.
At town halls, absolutely. It's been an incredible amount of work, but you know what? It's been worth it. It was incredible to see and go and vote for not only myself, but all of the people, the outpouring of support of people who said that they're excited to have me as their next congressional representative, and that's quite an honor.
Yeah, you've had some tragedy mixed in with some triumph during your campaign. You've been to Tom Reed's town halls. Looking back in retrospect, is there anything, human stuff aside, because we can't prevent God from doing what he's going to do, but is there anything that you would do differently on this journey that, looking back, that you might kind of counteract right now?
You know, I think right now there isn't anything. I think we've given it all. I've had incredible staff. I've had incredible volunteers. And for that, I'm very much thankful.
What are you expecting tonight?
You know, it's hard to say. From what I've heard early on, that the turnout is going to be incredibly high across the district. So we're excited to see what the results will bring. If anything, they're going to be very close.
All right, Eddie Sundquist, hometown hero to us. Great. Congratulations, sir. You've run a very healthy and clean campaign, an honest campaign. Guys, back to you on the WNY News Now election headquarters.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Of course, we will check back in with you coming up live here as election night coverage continues. Districts in Chautauqua County are already reporting. Our expert team with coverage coming up next. The Main Landing Restaurant. Excellent service, awesome food, and a beautiful view.
Everything's made fresh here. We love to be outside, and it's nice inside if it's raining, so we have a choice.
Locals and non-locals agree that the Main Landing is quickly becoming a destination.
It's just so casual, and just the food is amazing.
I love the hamburgers.
But I really like the tuna I had.
The Main Landing Restaurant. Excellent service, awesome food, and a beautiful view.
Brought to you by the people giving hope at Gifts Decor and More. With the controversial Kratom, Gifts Decor and More is giving hope to Southern Chautauqua County residents, one visit at a time.
Turn to Brotherhood Property Maintenance for all your lawn care and landscaping needs. Serving both commercial and residential lots. Check out Jamestown's fastest growing landscaping crew on Facebook or call us now to book an appointment. Welcome back to WNY News Now. Election night coverage here for the Democratic primary. Two great journalists, Matt Hummel and Ray Polero, joining me here.
I'm looking around. Where's that great journalist? Maybe once.
So, gentlemen, you have some news about the districts here in Chautauqua County that are reported.
Well, yeah, there are 51 districts. One is reported. Tracy Mitrano, it's only one district. It's less than 200 votes, but Tracy Mitrano has 54% of the vote. She's in first. Linda Andre is running second with just over 19%. Then you have Max Della Pia with just under 17%. Eddie Sundquist has 5%, and Ian Golden has 4%. But again, that's only one district, and we don't know where it's from. It could be Mayville, it could be Cherry Creek, it could, anywhere in the district.
In the meantime, I myself have noticed out of 448 districts throughout district-wide, excuse me, 9 have reported in. Tracy Mitrano has the lead at 55%. Max Della Pia is in second at 18. Linda Andre not far behind at 16. Ian Golden has 6%, and Eddie Sundquist is at 2. And it's important to note, according to this, he has not received double-digit votes yet, so we'll keep an eye out there.
Well, and we don't know, again, which districts are reporting.
Exactly.
Eddie's numbers will come up as more of Chautauqua County comes in, I would think, just like Mitrano and Andre's votes will kick up when Ithaca's area comes in. Such a big district. We have such a big district. There's so many communities in our district, that you can go from one end of the district to the other and be in a foreign country almost.
And it's interesting you say that, Rory, because before this election, you're right, I didn't notice how many communities we had. It's amazing, actually. I didn't know until we've had, 3 of the 5 candidates in 4 or something like that, and just to hear about all these places, I like it.
Well, it's a diverse district. The makeup is rural and urban to a point. It's a different district than there used to be. They redistrict all the time, and there's usually the appearance of gerrymandering, or at least the accusation of gerrymandering. But this seems to be, I think, a pretty good mix of small urban and rural. We don't have a dominant city that's overwhelming the rest of the district. You got Jamestown, which is balanced out probably by the Ithaca area, and then you've got little places like Falconer and you know, Bath and places like that.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Election night coverage. You hop in, microphone was potted up. Justin Kugel, Rory Valero, and Matt Hummel are all hanging out here in our studios. Orion Hedrick is looking live at the Democratic election headquarters for Eddie Sundquist, who is just not even a block away from where we are right now, John.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So Eddie is in there with his fellow Democrats and campaign staff and a number of friends and family this evening. We'll talk to Ryan coming up in just a little bit. But otherwise, now we wanted to throw it over to Rory P. and Matt, who both of you have been doing extensive research on much of the candidates. What new do you have to tell us now?
Well, what I did was I went today and I spent the day reading their websites, their press releases, their interviews. And I picked up a few bullet points, if you will, for each one on what they want or what they promise to try and do if elected.
Right.
And we're going to look at each one. We'll look at one now and one in a little later, and just do it that way. But Linda Andre. Now, the interesting thing with Linda Andre is that she's a cardiologist, a retired cardiologist who practiced in New Bern, North Carolina after working at some really big hospitals in the area. Her big thing is single payer healthcare system. She says that being a doctor, she understands the medical situation a lot better than somebody who maybe was a farmer or a truck driver or something and ran, which is the same thing that Rand Paul always said. I'm a doctor, so I know this. She also wants to lower prescription prices for senior citizens. And I don't know how she's planning on doing that, but she's talked about it a lot through subsidies and through competitive balances. She also supports Planned Parenthood. That was one of the big things on her website. Yep. She wants a $15 minimum wage, which she calls fair and livable. And she wants to expand jobs in wind, solar, and geothermal clean energies, which she said will expand jobs here and improve the environment. She also wants more control over prescribing opioids. She thinks they're being given out too much, and she would like to fight that. Yep. And lastly, she wants to eliminate so-called assault rifles. So that's just a few bullet points of what, and I don't mean to say bullet points but that's a few highlights.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely going to be something, too, that I know a lot of people that our Democrats would probably like to hear, I would say, at least a lot of those ideas, you know. We've heard people throughout the area talk about some stuff with the health care and how they want to see stuff more affordable. So hearing something from a doctor might, you know, inspire a lot of people to end up voting for her.
Well, that goes back to what I said about this being a smorgasbord for Democratic voters. If that's your key issue, then you've got a doctor, a cardiologist running. If your other one is business, you've got a business owner in Ian Golden. You've got a former military. So you've got a technology expert for communications technology. So whatever your issue is, there's somebody in this lineup to address it. Whether they address it the way you want or not, that's up to you. But every one of these candidates brings a different background to the same issues.
And, you know, I think we're seeing that now because with more districts, or excuse me, I'm going to say precincts throughout the district, so that way it's easier to say.
Absolutely.
With the bigger sample size now, 21 out of 448, Tracy Metrano is now leading with 44% of the vote. Max Delapia is in second place with 21, so it's shrinking.
It's tightening a little.
It's tightening a little. Linda is at 18%. And Ian Gold, and now with some more in, 42% now with Metrano, Linda at 21, Max Delapia at 20, Ian Golden at 11, and Eddie Sundquist at 4. So we're starting to get some more districts now, and precincts, and as those grow, it appears to me we could have a very tight race, guys.
Well, I predicted before we came on, I predicted Metrano but I picked Della Pia to come in second, and I thought it'd be fairly close, maybe 4 or 5 points. That's just a prediction.
All right, guys, thanks so much. There's a look at the candidates now. Ryan Hedrick will have a live report coming up from Eddie Sundquist's headquarters here in downtown Jamestown. Stick with us. Election coverage on W.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
The weather is heating up, and so are the deals at Express Bike and Auto, right here in Jamestown, located at 1761 Foot Avenue Extension. They are your one-stop shop for all of your vehicle, ATV, and motorcycle needs. They even sell vehicles, and guess what? Financing is available. So what are you waiting for? Get to Express Bike and Auto right here in Jamestown at 1761 Foot Avenue Extension now.
Ask me the questions and I'll respond. When I respond, put my phone down. Look.
And welcome back to WNY News Now election night coverage. Rory Polero, Matt Hummel to my left. I'm Justin Gould. Thanks so much for spending your evening here with us. Of course, guys, it's an exciting race in the district for many Democratic candidates, one of whom is pretty close to our downtown studios. That's where we find our Ryan Hedrick, who's standing by now with a live report. Hey, Ryan. Again, Ryan is on a delay, so if you just wait one moment, he will come on.
Hey, Justin, great election coverage so far, guys, and a lot of commenters on our Facebook page have been talking about the democratic process, not literally but figuratively speaking, the voting process, but more like the party lines, Democrats and Republicans. And I think one of the things I want to focus on is how difficult and how much courage it takes to actually run a race, because the competitive balance with Republicans and Democrats is slightly off in Chautauqua County. But if you think about what Eddie Sundquist has been through, say, in the past 6 months with the death of his aunt, the tragic passing of his aunt, who actually we came across by accident on WNY News Now and sadly had to report that news, and then had the great professionalism to go on with his campaign, looking at constituents in the eye, hitting things head on like he usually does. It takes a lot of courage, and I want to just commend Eddie Sundquist. I'm not here as a Republican or a Democrat representative, more as kind of a casual observer tonight of the democratic process here in Chautauqua County. I don't think we talk enough about the courage, the strength, and the honor it takes to actually run a race and run a clean race. I think you guys can agree, I think we all would agree, that Eddie Sundquist has run a very, very clean race, so to speak, at least in the eyes of his constituents. I know some of the emails he sent out may not have been that appropriate in terms of running the clean race that I'm referring to, but in the public he has run a very clean race and a very respectable, at least in the eyes of his voters.
All right, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we will talk to you a little bit later on. I know there is a delay, so it is kind of funny to get used to, but thank you so much for being here with us. All right, Matt and Rory, over to you.
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out, I'm sure our viewers are aware of it, with a race with this many people, you don't need to get 51%. You need to get a plurality, which means whatever you get, 51% would definitely lock it up for you, because that means 49% split with 4 other candidates. But with all 5 candidates taking votes from each other, you can win with less than the majority. You can win with a plurality. And This happens usually when there's 3 or more candidates. You go to the 1968 presidential election between Richard Nixon, Hubert Humphrey, and George Wallace, and a plurality would have won it. And that's what made Wallace's third-party candidacy so intriguing, was he didn't need to win everywhere. He could have won the presidency just by sweeping the South and a little bit of the Midwest.
That's a great point, Rory. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. As a journalist, I'm very excited right now with this race. And not because I have a dog in the fight, so to speak, whether it was a Democratic race, Republican race, whatever. But what's exciting me is that as the precincts keep coming in throughout the district, it's getting tighter and tighter.
Well, they come to your point. 17 districts in the county have now reported. And Tracy Mitrano's still leading, but it's not the runaway it was. She's at 33.7%. Second place with 20.5 is Max Della Pia. Third is Eddie Sundquist with 19.4. Linda Andre's got 17.1 roughly, and Ian Golden's got 9%. So it looks like he's carrying the back end of the cart in Chautauqua County, but there's only a difference between first and second place of 129 votes.
And it looks like the same thing throughout the district. Eddie Sundquist is trailing everybody. He's at 3%. Ian Golden above him at 14. Max Della Pia is in the middle of the pack at 20. Linda Andre at 22%. And Tracy Mitrano leads at 38. And again, that's with 10% of the precincts in.
Okay, this leads to my question. It's too early to call, obviously. But if it finishes the way it's running right now, can Mitrano beat the incumbent? Can she beat Reed?
You know, that's going to be a tough one. That really is. And actually, if she wins, we're really going to have something interesting to watch in November. Because I know I've heard a lot more people than last election say, or at least around here, that they don't want Reed for whatever reason. They may not be a big fan of him personally, may not be a big fan of him with his politics, but I've heard, I don't want Reed, I don't want Reed. So really, I think it could be interesting.
Well, I think the main that a lot of the voters are going to look at it and say, you know what, I don't have a dog in this race because Mitrano's from Ithaca, or she's not from around here. Reed's not from Chautauqua County. But this does set up some interesting possibilities in 2 years, because you have a couple of rising stars locally in George Borrello and in Mr. Liuzzo running as a city councilman. You also have Sam Teresi pondering his future. You have Kathy Young, who remains very popular, and you have Andy Goodell. So it seems like this is an important race, because if Mitrano or any of the Democrats were to defeat Reed, it would throw it wide open on the other side, and we'd have some real interesting stuff going on in 2 years.
And that is that's the key thing that people don't think about is when the incumbent loses, what does the party do now, especially in 2 years? So, for example, if say in 2020, looking at a national scale, if President Trump was to lose, what would the Republican Party do, in 2024?
And that's kind of what the Democrats are going through now on a national level is, do they bring Hillary back? She already proved she can't win. Do they bring Bernie Sanders back at his age and with somewhat leftist policies? Or do they go with someone else? Do they have some new young guns that could step up? Because the Republicans, don't forget, there were 17 Republicans running in the primary. So, but locally, I think it's going to be interesting because, as you said earlier, the more districts comes in, the closer the numbers get.
Absolutely, gentlemen. Thanks so much for that analysis here. Of course, it is election night coverage on WNY News Now with Matt Hummel, Rory Polero, myself, Justin Gould, and our roaming reporter, Ryan Hedrick, who is live at Eddie Sundquist headquarters, not even a block away from where we are here in downtown. It continues next. Stay with us.
WNY News Now is sponsored by Chautauqua Audio Works, 3335 South Roberts Road in Fredonia. More than a music store. Call 679-4333. Call now, 679-4333.
The Fitness Bunker in Lakewood is a locally owned and operated club that cares about your health and wellness. They invest in it. Right now, $16 for 16 days will get you in the door. Lose 4 pounds, your next month is on them. Try a green zone class and maximize your performance. Hot yoga, 24/7 access. Simply walk into Fitness Bunker in Lakewood right now on Summit Avenue. Make an investment in your health and wellness. Fitness Bunker in Lakewood. Find them on Facebook.
And welcome back to WNY News Now election night coverage. I'm Justin Gould. Thanks so much for joining us here on Facebook Live. As I said earlier in the broadcast, two great men are here with me. Rory Polero. We're going to do this bit every time we come.
Well, there's three great men here then.
Thank you, Rory. And our Matt Hummel, who is editor-in-chief here at WNY News Now. You're rocking a very nice beard here on this Tuesday.
Thank you. And I just got rid of what I was starting because it was way too gray for my taste.
I know, and you know, it is so hot. Dakota says that it's going to be really, really hot this week. So,
well, and you wonder if the weather affects the turnout tonight.
Right.
Because primaries, more than a general election, the parties really push.
Right.
Because this is your chance to say who's going to maybe represent you in Washington.
Right. And welcome back to election night coverage on WNY News Now. Justin Gould, Matt Hummel, and Rory Polero here joining us live from our newly remodeled broadcast center in downtown Jamestown.
Yes, so. The only constant is change.
I know, right? You guys are too funny. We wanted to dip we actually don't have Ryan's feed, but we will show you outside of our downtown studios where the sun has set. You're looking over the Digital building. This is our chief forecaster, Dakota Hunter's favorite camera.
And it's a very comfortable night out there,
It
too.
is, absolutely.
I should be in a tent in the woods right now.
I know Ryan was saying inside the Sunquist headquarters, it is uncomfortably hot.
I'm sure. And from the trends that it looks like, it's going to stay uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out a little bit, since she seems to be winning right now, what Tracy Metrano is about, based on my research. She was the director of information technology policies at Cornell University, where she graduated from Cornell Law School. And what her quick bullet points on what she's proposing is that she wants a fair minimum wage. She doesn't say if that's 15, 18, 9, but she wants a fair minimum wage. She wants to rebalance what she calls the gap between employee and CEO wages. She doesn't want the CEOs making $6-8 million a year while their employees make $20,000. So that's one of the things she's proposing. She wants to go to a single-payer healthcare system, like Obamacare eventually would have done. She wants to end fracking, calling it an environmental danger. She wants to federally fund more research into climate change. She also supports net neutrality, which is a big one for the millennials and the young voters. They're going to look at that. And she's called for stricter gun controls, avoiding what she calls loopholes in the internet and gun show sales, and restricting certain types of firearms. So those are pretty common themes, most of them throughout the Democratic Party. But there are a few. She's the only one I've heard address the CEO versus employee thing.
Right.
She brings a different perspective, and she's definitely an expert in technology, and she communicates well, and she should. She's an expert in communication technology. So that's a little bit of what the current leader in the Democratic primary seems to want.
And if we look at the results right now, I know Matt is our go-to man for tracking that for us this evening. But Matt, we have that pulled up for the folks at home. I guess right now, Metrano is in the lead at this point. And now this data is just from Chautauqua County, correct?
Yes.
Yes, what you have up.
Okay. So she is in the lead here in Chautauqua County with, it looks like Sundquist and Delapia are at a hard second at this point,
there's
right?
only
I mean, they're
39 votes between them.
So Sundquist would be 2, and then Delapia would be 3 at this point, and 47 of the 51 districts.
And then Andre is only 20 votes behind Delapia.
Right, absolutely. And I know he doesn't have a very good camera angle at this moment, but we'll take it live anyways. You see here, it looks like Spectrum News is doing some sort of a live look. I don't know if Ryan is able to hear us, if he's able to adjust that, but they are there in there we go. Thank you, Ryan. So yeah, you see there's Spectrum. They're live on their channel.
There's Ryan in the window.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Ray.
So again, they are doing live reports as well throughout the evening, and of course that is at the Eddie Sundquist headquarters, which is awfully close to where we are here in our downtown area.
41% of the precincts throughout the district are in now. Tracy Metrano has a 1% lead on Max Delapia.
I should have put some money on it. So what is the order top to bottom right now in the district?
Well, we have Metrano at 32%, Delapia at 31%, Linda Andres in the middle at 15%, Ian Golden is at 4th with 11%, and Eddie Sundquist is in the bottom right now at 8%.
Is it too early? How much percentage is in?
8% for Eddie? Or
no, total votes, precincts in.
41.
Is it too early to say this has become a two-horse race?
Well, the way this is going, I think we can definitely make it a four-man race. Or, excuse me, four-person race. With all due respect to Mr. Sundquist.
So you think Golden and Andre still have a chance to take the lead? Is it just dependent on where the districts are from?
Well, mathematically, I think Ian has a chance still, but kind of not really.
He's going to have to hit a grand slam.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, like I say, then it looks like what we're facing is a two-team fight.
At this point, yes. Now, the one thing, and you and I talked about this actually quite frequently during our breaks, is we really wish we could figure out what areas of the district are coming in, and in the county.
Because the interesting thing is going to be the two candidates from Ithaca splitting the Ithaca vote.
Right.
That could make a major change in it. Whereas it's surprising to me that Sundquist isn't winning Chautauqua County with what's in. I mean, he's running what? He's running 7% behind Metrano?
But it goes to the point that we brought up, or we talked about earlier. There's a split in terms, if we're talking about the major government players, both in the city and the county. You've had some like Greg Rabb, former city council president, who endorsed Mr. Sundquist. You had Sam Teresi, mayor of Jamestown. But then you had city councilwoman at large, Vanessa Weiner, who's been endorsing Tracy Metrano quite frequently. So, if there's a little bit of problems within the home ground, it's kind of hard to win, the district.
Well, it's not unusual to see a little bit of political split. Sometimes I don't know that maybe there is a split between Metrano and Andre and Golden somewhere
that's true.
That also exists. So I guess the disadvantage that Mr. Sundquist had coming in is he's the only one from this end of the district. I mean, you would think that would help him dominate this end of the district, but apparently it's not right now. So I'd like to talk a little bit. We haven't really got into what Mr. Sundquist or Mr. Delapia stand for in their campaigns. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go over that. Now, Max Delapia is doing really well right now, surprisingly, I think. He's from Owego, so he's not splitting a vote with anybody. And he's retired from the U.S. military, the Air Force, where he graduated from the Air Force Academy with a bachelor's degree in economics. And he also went to Marquette School of Law and has a lot of federal government experience as a liaison between the Air Force and the federal government. Some of the things he's proposing is he wants to reduce taxes on small businesses, which he says, rightfully so, are the lifeblood of the economy. He also wants a higher minimum wage, which I think a lot of people do. He wants to restore the individual mandate in health care. And that was one of the big things that the other side was against. So I guess that health care fight's not over yet. And so that's one of the key issues in this race, I think. He supports science, technology, engineering, art, and math, known as STEAM education. He's a big advocate of that.
STEM education.
Oh, I've been pronouncing it STEAM all this time.
Yeah. Well, no, the arts is in there, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's STEAM.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wants to ban automatic weapons, and my only question on that is they've been banned, some of them, since the 1930s. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Maybe a complete sweep.
Well, that may be, and that's dangerous. But I don't know if he's talking about that or if he's talking about semi-automatic weapons, and it just came out wrong on his webpage. I don't know. He also wants more accountability in the Veterans Administration, which includes reducing waiting time so we don't have our loved veterans getting sicker and sicker or dying while they're waiting to get in to be seen. And he also pushed on his webpage his strong support for supporting Israel while maintaining or trying to establish peaceful relationships between Israel and the countries around her, including the Palestinians. So he may be, like you were saying, he may be a little more to the center than the rest of the candidates, which will make him look like he's a right-winger compared to the others, even though he's just a centrist. Now, Eddie Sundquist, he's our local candidate, and he has his master's in science education, and at the University of Buffalo, he got his Juris Doctorate. He has his own law practice here in town. He wants to support enhancements to broadband to make it more accessible and more efficient. He also counts that as part of the infrastructure. He wants free community college for anybody and free four-year school for certain qualifying students. Although I don't know what the qualifications would be, but that's something that he's very strongly in favor of. He wants to enhance advancements in clean energy, which he says will help business and the environment. He wants to remove profit motive from healthcare, which sounds like privatizing it, and not privatizing it, but governizing it. He wants to have universal background checks for firearms, which I just bought a shotgun about a month and a half ago, and I had to go through a background check. So I don't know what further background checks we could do. The problem there is certain laws restrict certain things from being reported.
And that very much could be a state thing as well.
Yes.
That he would argue for on a federal level.
Well, yes, exactly. He's also against fracking, and he would like to repeal the current tax reform legislation and make something that he sees more equitable. So, again, like we said, there's something for everybody if you're a Democrat voting in the closed primary tonight.
51% of the precincts are in. Metrano is leading at 32, Max Del Pia at 30. So as the precincts keep coming in, it's getting closer and closer in terms of votes.
Absolutely.
All the county.
When we return, we'll talk about that, and of course Ryan Hedrick is at the Eddie Sundquist headquarters here in downtown Jamestown when we come back.
WNY News Now is sponsored by Chautauqua Audio Works, 3335 South Roberts Road in Fredonia. More than a music store. Call 679-4333. Call now, 679-4333.
The Fitness Bunker in Lakewood is a locally owned and operated club that cares about your health and wellness. They invest in it. Right now, $16 for 16 days will get you in the door. Lose 4 pounds, your next month is on them. Try a green zone class and maximize your performance. Hot yoga, 24/7 access. Simply walk into Fitness Bunker in Lakewood right now on Summit Avenue. Make an investment in your health and wellness. Fitness Bunker in Lakewood. Find them on Facebook.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
And welcome back to election night coverage on WNY News Now. Justin Gould, Rory Polero, Matt Hummelall typing feverishly. I can't. Feverishly. I done goofed that one up, didn't
Fervently?
Fervently. Who knows? Gentlemen, you
really
have
fast.
been doing a great job. And we actually have some big news to report from Chautauqua County anyways. All 51 of the districts here in Chautauqua County have reported in. And as this moment, it looks like Tracy Metrano is the winner in Chautauqua County. Obviously, that's not necessarily the case in the entire district, though, Matt.
That's right. In the entire district, with 51% of the precincts in, Tracy Metrano has a slight lead over Max Delapia, 32-30 in terms of percent-wise. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look and see if Cattaraugus County has a Board of Elections website. I've never looked, so I'm going to see. Don't mind my typing.
That would be very interesting to see. But again, these are all of the candidates that we are watching tonight. Tracy Metrano, Ian Golden, Max Delapia, Eddie Sundquist, and Linda Andre, as well, as you see on your screen. We'll kind of cycle through them here. But, you know, guys, this is a big night. We've been talking about this for the Democrats with, you know, 5 candidates in a primary. That's a good number. That's a number that definitely could compete on the national scale as well.
Well, and that's Metrano getting 29%, I think it was, of the vote. That's a good, strong showing, especially in someone else's backyard.
Right. You'd go to think that maybe, Rory, that Sundquist would be definitely coming out on top here, but it looks like he is in second place here in Chautauqua County. So Tracy Metrano definitely, kind of, we were talking about before the broadcast, just you know, respectively, you know, as journalists, who do we project, right? And I was pretty certain that Metrano would come out on top, at least here, because, you know, talking with local Democrats in the Jamestown and Chautauqua County area, she seems to have won them over, and that's very much what obviously we've seen here tonight in Chautauqua County. Now, the question is, can she do that in the entire district? And if she can she really take on Tom Reed this fall?
Well, and it is interesting because I think we had talked earlier in the day about how we didn't see as many Sundquist road signs, street signs and yard signs as we had expected. I actually saw more for Metrano and Delapia than for Mr. Sundquist. And that's not a good sign when you're losing the sign survey in your own country.
Right.
But I think her winning Chautauqua County is big news because that was I think that was Mr. Sundquist's one boost to push him into the race, is to do really well here, and he came in second.
Right.
This is kind of like losing your home state in a presidential primary. If you can't win at home, you can't win.
Right.
Refreshing, and no more precincts in yet, so it might be a little bit before we get something else.
We're still at the 32-30 for
Correct.
Metrano.
Yep.
And they have Max Delapia listed as Max Pia. Thank you, Vox, for getting it wrong.
Well,
right. That's not the only media outlet that
No, that's true. We may have been one of the few that got it right. Andre is at 16%, Golden at 12%, and Sundquist at 7%. He hasn't even topped 1,000 votes yet, where Golden's at 1,400. Andre's at 1,900. Delapia's at 3,500. Actually, only 152 votes separate Metrano and Delapia.
This is going to be...
So it could be
it's a tight race here in the district for sure.
Time to tighten your shoelaces and buckle down, I guess.
I haven't heard that saying in a long time.
I'm old.
I wish we could order some pizza right now.
I know. We were talking about that earlier, if we were going to do that or not, but we didn't.
go for a ice cream sundae right now instead, to be honest with
If
you.
anyone's out there, you can bring us an ice cream.
It's a little warm for pizza right now.
I was going to say, I'm going to be up all night. Like, literally.
The only thing I got waiting for me at home is the Xbox and my cat. Well, and my daughter and her 2 kids, but they'll be asleep.
Yeah, that's true. I can't wait for my bed. All right, when we come back, more from election coverage. Stay with us.
What matters to you matters to us. Every story, every day.
I sat down with the candidate following last night's meeting, an interview you will only see on WNY News Now.
Small, proud, and dedicated community that is shocked, angered, sad.
The old Dunkirk City School building has been remodeled and retrofitted with 21st century technology.
Feel demoralized in a sense by the power structure?
I don't really know. I mean, maybe, but there's just not a lot of information, I guess, to change some things, I suppose.
Chautauqua County Executive George Borrello is in the nation's capital right now, advocating for several water projects in the county.
This ban will ultimately lay down some more snow our way over the next 24 or so hours. Now, zooming the radar out.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
And welcome back to election night coverage here on WNY News Now. Justin Gould, Rory Polero, and Matt Hummel hanging out in our studios as we watch live results from across Chautauqua County and the entire congressional district. Here's a look at the results here in Chautauqua County. These, of course, are unofficial until the county election committee says so. That'll probably be in the coming days. I'm sure they have to count absentee ballots and things like that as well. But it looks like Tracy Matrano has stole the vote here in Chautauqua County anyways. Does that mean that she's going to take the whole district? Or Matt Hummel explains. Hey, Matt.
Well, Justin, I don't know. I cannot answer that question right now because with 58% of the precincts in, Tracy Matrano has a 1% lead.
Ooh.
So it's going to be very close. We're within a couple hundred votes.
And there is the 5 candidates. We've been talking about this all night, and that's a lot of people running for one political spot. Now, obviously, this does not mean that they win and they're going to be a congressperson. That's far from it. We still have an election to hold this fall.
But if it ends up being as close as tonight is, I'm excited for November, guys.
Well, in some law cases, I was just looking and I couldn't find specifics, but in many of them, if it were exactly tied, it would be decided by a heads or tails coin toss.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Like,
there are laws for that provision, but I couldn't find anything that said how that
would work.
When that happens. If it's in a village race or a county race, or
I mean, a race like this would be a huge race. I mean, this is
this isn't the Super Bowl. This is the future of the country.
Right. Wow.
Are anyone surprised at Matrano Strong's showing here in the county, or do you think there was enough of a split that perhaps there was more support for her than we suspected in the local party?
And actually, Matt, I'm going to have you hold that thought because we have our Ryan Hedrick with Eddie Sundquist, it looks like. So, Ryan, go ahead. All right, it looks like, I don't know if their stream isn't working or not. Yeah, it looks like we may have lost their stream there.
Stream went down.
But Ryan is with Eddie Sundquist. I don't know if Ryan is able to still hear me. Maybe he can just do an audio interview. All right, so we, of course, will continue to look into those technical difficulties. We do apologize for that. But Matt, I guess, were you surprised by Tracy Metrano's win, at least here in Chautauqua County?
You know, honestly, guys, I'm still trying to think of what I believe because, one hand, I am surprised, again, because of the, Eddie being the hometown person.
Yeah.
On the other hand, listening to what a lot of our Democratic viewers have said and what other people have said, in the community, I'm not as stunned as I could be. But, I always have surprises.
The thought that comes to my mind is it may not have been about Metrano or Delapia or Sundquist or any of them. It may have been about who they felt had the best chance to unseat Reed. So it may not have been, I'm voting for her because I like her better or I support her more. I'm voting for her because I think she has the strongest candidacy against our opponent.
So I hate to use this comparison, but would that be like a lot of, nationally, a lot of Republican voters that are like, ooh, should I do Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Marco, Rubio? Who has the best chance to beat Hillary? Is it kind of like that, do you think?
I think that's one thing to consider. It's weird when you study what people vote on because there are people. I read a study once where a lot of people voted for Bill Clinton. Who, they didn't know who he was, but the first time they saw him, he had so much charisma that they instantly, it took them back to the John F. Kennedy days, and they loved Bill Clinton. They didn't necessarily think he had the best chance of winning or that he was the best candidate, but there was a personal link to them that they felt. And the same thing with John F. Kennedy, the same thing with Ronald Reagan. There were people who didn't think that Reagan necessarily was the best candidate, but they connected with him on some level, and that was enough.
Now, that Clinton thing, was that when Clinton was elected as Arkansas's governor, or was it when he became president?
When he hit the national scene.
When he hit the national.
He was well known in the state.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of documentaries.
Yeah. Well, he was well known. We'll leave it at that. There's some that were famous and some that were infamous. But I think some of it may have been.
Wow.
Some of it may have been that Tracy Metrano was felt to be the stronger candidate. Some may be that she just clicked with people more, or that maybe one of the other candidates didn't click. I'm not saying he did, but it can be very dangerous to take your home playing field for granted. To expect, oh, we're in Lambeau Field, we're going to win. Doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, or if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're not always going to win at Heinz Field. Oh, well, you do, but if you're the Bills, you don't win at home, right?
Yeah, well, how many rings did the Steelers get last year? Oh, same as the Bills.
And everything that counts, yeah.
You're talking football with Matt Hummel.
We're talking Green Bay Packers, greatest franchise in football history. Take that, Dakota.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. More next will come, gentlemen. Stay with us.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
The weather is heating up, and so are the deals at Express Bike and Auto, right here in Jamestown, located at 1761 Foot Avenue Extension. They are your one-stop shop for all of your vehicle, ATV, and motorcycle needs. They even sell vehicles, and guess what? Financing is available. So what are you waiting for? Get to Express Bike and Auto right here in Jamestown at 1761 Foot Avenue Extension now.
Do news like no one else. Investigations that get results.
There was a bunch of kids over here playing football, and the ball kicked over onto her. She picked it up and took a butcher knife, stabbed it. Cops wouldn't do nothing.
WNY News Now investigates, standing up for you while holding the powerful accountable. If you have a problem, we're here to help. WNY News Now. What matters to you matters to us. Every story, every day.
I sat down with the candidate following last night's meeting, an interview you will only see on WNY News Now.
Small, proud, and dedicated community that is shocked, angered, sad.
The old Dunkirk City School building has been remodeled and retrofitted with 21st century technology.
Feel demoralized in a sense by the power structure?
I don't really know. I mean, maybe, but there's just not a lot of information, I guess, to change some things, I suppose.
Chautauqua County Executive George Borrello is in the nation's capital right now, advocating for several water projects in the county.
This ban will ultimately lay down some more snow our way over the next 24 or so hours. Now, zooming the radar out.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Welcome back to WNY News Now's election coverage. Our Rory B. Polero has some news. What's going on?
There's a major upset in the state, in the district. U.S. Representative Joe Crowley, he's one of the most powerful Democrats in the House, was knocked off by a 28-year-old challenger, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Crowley was actually being considered to be the next House Speaker if the Democrats win a majority in Washington. And Ocasio-Cortez, is a former Bernie Sanders organizer who's never held an elective office in her life. It's being reported that she was outspent 18-1. And she won the endorsement of some groups in the party's left, including MoveOn.org. Crowley's been in Congress since 1999, so he was climbing the ladder. In the 14th Congressional District, which includes the Bronx and Queens, they aren't giving any actual numbers that I can see right here, but they're declaring her the upset winner. And that would be kind of like beating Tip O'Neill in a primary, so to speak.
And that brings up, or that's something I do want to bring up. Let that be a lesson to people out there. If you disagree with the person that's in office, the best way to change, the course of life is just, vote. Quite simply, show up, vote.
Well, you remember how close the Bush-Gore race was, a handful of votes either way, and Gore would have been president. District-wide, we're at 64%, and there's only 157 votes between Metrano and Della Pia. And that's even smaller than the margin was at 60%. So he's closing slowly. The question is he going to run out of time to catch her, or is she going to be able to hold him off?
Well, you know what? There is going to be something, too, that Justin brought up earlier, and I didn't think about it. It could get to the point where we can't call anything tonight, and it may come down to absentee votes.
Well, it very well could. I mean, when you have only a couple hundred votes separating the two top candidates, Sundquist finally topped 1,000 votes in the district. He's up to 8%. Golden has 12%. Dr. Andre has 17%. Della Pia 30%, and Metrano 31%. Like I say, it's 157 votes.
And remember, too, and I want to bring something back. Remember when we had our election coverage in November? We talked about think it was the city council at-large race, we were talking about how we didn't know for certain if the results were going to be, the way they were, but it looked like Andy Liuzzo and Vanessa Weiner and Kim Eklund, it looked like those three won, but we didn't know for certain. At that time, there wasn't a lot of absentee ballots available within the city, as well as the county races. But here, you've got a whole district.
Well, exactly.
So there could be 200 or 300 absentee ballots.
200, 300, 400, because you also remember a lot of our military votes by absentee ballot because they're overseas or they're deployed somewhere. So I don't know what the defeated people take away from this, because now their question is, do I support the candidate that wins the nomination because I probably agree with them more than with Tom Reed, or was I running against them because I really don't want them, and therefore do I stay out of it? Because if let's say it does come down to just Metrano and Della Pia, it wouldn't hurt to have Andre and Golden and Sundquist in your corner for political unity. So that is the question that those three candidates have to ask themselves. And even at this point, if some of them were to concede and say, you know what, I want Metrano, or you know what, I'm willing to back Della Pia, it could still, it can't swing things at this point because the votes have been cast, but it can swing things for the winner if they can bring the rest of the tail behind them so that the dog has a full tail.
Whew, this is going to be an exciting couple hours. I'm thinking our night will be here for a while.
Well, I don't know. It's been an hour and a half roughly.
Right.
So we're still at 64%. So I would guess if we're going to know a winner tonight, we should know by 11:30. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would say at this rate.
Does that sound like a good estimate to you guys? Let me get your reaction to both how close it is right now between Metrano and Della Pia, and also how underwhelming Golden and Sundquist candidacy is district-wide.
Yeah, and that's for Sundquist, and I touched on this earlier. Eddie, a great guy in the community, but I feel like, at least from my perspective, from what I've learned about his campaign, from the news releases that I've read, he didn't really go too far out of Chautauqua County, or when he did, maybe he didn't have as much of an impact because he's kind of from this corner of the district, right? He's from here. All those other candidates are from the Ithaca area, from the area that normally produces the Democrats, that normally produces the Tom Reeds. That's what we've seen, at least when our district was mapped like it is right now. And as for the kind of Max Della Pia angle of it, from the get-go, from when I sat down with Max, I thought that he was a, look at that beard. I thought that he was a very, a well-spoken candidate, very straightforward, very much a military man. But comparing him to the rest of the group, I always thought that Metrano was probably going to be the one, just because of the way that she touched on me and the way that she touched on the rest of the Democrats that I've spoke to here in the district and
so you
seen
think
online.
She came along? You think she came across as like more charismatic to the voter?
Yeah, and I think almost. And again, I haven't had the opportunity to meet with Linda yet, and if she. But from all of the candidates that I've met with, except for her, which is, I really thought that Tracy was probably going to be the candidate because of her personality, and I think the way that she runs her campaign, she almost seems like she has her ducks in a row.
Well, and it's funny because Andre, from what I read earlier today, she had apparently reported the most money raised for the campaign.
Right.
And yet...
which generally indicates that you'll win.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Well, but it seems like maybe Metrano spent her money a little differently. Are you surprised, though, that Della Pia is running so strong? I mean, right now, with 68% of the district in, he's behind by 156 votes.
Right.
You know, and you were talking a few minutes ago about Eddie not being able to reach the eastern part of the district. And I think a lot of that is, it appears to me he might have been struggling with, you know, campaigns and contributions and whatnot, because a funny story, actually, I don't know about you guys, but for some odd reason, my email is on his listserv for...
Yeah, like almost as if you were a supporter.
Yeah, do you guys have that too?
Yeah, I think he sent that to our newsroom.
Oh, that could be...
That went to the newsroom.
Oh, okay, because I still get that in mine, and I think I'm disconnected, but that's besides the point. Probably doing that with a lot of the media outlets.
Right.
But what it said was, you know, quite often... we need so much, and every time we got the emails, it'd be, can you donate $5?
Right.
Then $8 and $12.
Well, and the grassroots doesn't necessarily work either, because Mr. Golden had the most money from small donors, which is like $20 or less, and he had the most of that, which would have spoke of a grassroots race, but it didn't translate.
Wow, guys. Well, this is with 72%, but right now, 72% of the precincts have reported. Max Delapia is now in the lead by 7 votes.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. This tight. May not be over as soon as we thought. Maybe we won't be calling a winner at 11:30.
No. We may be here all night.
5295 to 5288. That's a 163 vote swing in the last 4 districts.
Wow.
Precincts, rather.
Gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen out there, we are going to have a very, very interesting couple hours.
And even though it's probably too late to make a difference, Golden is actually gaining on Andre for 3rd place.
Hey, you know what? Anything can happen,
right?
What do you think are the possibilities? The possibilities that some of these candidates came into this to get their foot in the door, get their hat in the ring, to get their name out there for future use.
You know what? That is an excellent point, Mr. P. Because
thank you.
I
get one right once in a while, as long as it isn't about turtles.
That's a long story, folks. But a few weeks ago, I interviewed a woman named Judy Einach, who is running for the Democratic Party against Andy Goodell for the local state assembly seat. And she brought up that very same point. She ran in 2005 for the city of Buffalo's mayoral race. And if I remember right, Green Party. She wasn't even the Democratic candidate. She was a third-party candidate. Yeah. And she told me, she's like, you know, Matt, I quite honestly, I knew I wasn't going to have a chance winning that. But what it did is it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot when it came to what happens in, you know, those races. And it put my name in the door. And that's the big thing, is how do you get your name out there?
And that's how you go from being a rail-splitting, self-employed attorney to President Lincoln. You build.
And that could be something, too. Like, I know Eddie tonight has had probably, he would say, a disappointing night, at least thus far.
Right.
But he's young. I don't even think he's 30 yet.
He has more name recognition now than he did a year ago.
So anything in 2 years, anything, you know.
Well, and it depends. If whoever wins the Democratic primary tonight goes out and gets killed, you know, they go out and they get beat 70% to 30% by Reed, that leaves 2nd place, 3rd place, 4th place to say, you know what? Now's my time. We tried that candidate, didn't work. Now it's my time.
And you know what, too? Here's another thing. Say Andy Goodell wins again. Say he wins, and in 2 years...
Oh, there's interrupting. Judy Einach there. Ryan is now zooming out a little bit.
Oh,
is actually there.
She's right there.
Yes, she's right there. I wanted to. This is a live look at the Eddie Sundquist campaign headquarters as well.
Which is probably subdued, which is why Ryan's probably right now getting coffee and cookies.
Yes, yeah, that's what he said. He had to step out because it's so hot in there.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think, and that looking there, we got Spectrum, and it looks like a couple other local agencies.
Yes, as well, a few other reporters. I wanted to check into the comments while we're watching this live shot. Ryan, great job with that. Mike Ferguson. Hey, how's it going? He actually ran for Chautauqua County Executive.
Yes.
He says, thank you, gentlemen, for the coverage. You're doing great service to the community. Mike, we really appreciate you as well tuning in this evening along with the many.
And I want to thank him for running because I hate uncontested elections.
Yeah.
That means there really isn't a choice.
Especially as a reporter.
It means there's no choice.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh.
Right. And it looks like there's also some Trump supporters as well in our chat. Mike, Ron Lemon giving a thumbs up. Josh says just the next person Tom Reed will beat. And yeah.
Like they say, the best way to win an election is be the incumbent.
Right.
And that's true. Unless apparently you're the guy who just got beat by Ocasio-Cortez.
That I still can't believe that. Like
no, that is a big upset. That might be the New York story of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will be page one of. Now, what district is that?
I believe it's the 14th.
So that's downstate somewhere, I think.
It's Bronx and Queens.
Oh, very downstate.
It'll probably be on the Times tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
All right, gentlemen, time for a break. We're back after this. Stay with us.
The Main Landing Restaurant. Excellent service, awesome food, and a beautiful view.
Everything's made fresh here. We love to be outside, and it's nice inside if it's raining, so we have a choice.
Locals and non-locals agree that the Main Landing is quickly becoming a destination.
It's just so casual, and just the food is amazing.
I love the hamburgers.
But I really like the tuna I had.
The Main Landing Restaurant. Excellent service, awesome food, and a beautiful view.
Brought to you by the people giving hope at Gifts Decor and More. With the controversial Kratom, Gifts Decor and More is giving hope to Southern Chautauqua County residents, one visit at a time.
Turn to Brotherhood Property Maintenance for all your lawn care and landscaping needs. Serving both commercial and residential lots. Check out Jamestown's fastest growing landscaping crew on Facebook or call us now to book an appointment.
And another live look at the Eddie Sundquist election headquarters here in downtown Jamestown, where right now it looks like candidate Sundquist is most likely not going to win the Democratic primary seat here in the 23rd District. But certainly a great race by him and many others. Our Ryan Hedrick is there. We may talk to him a little bit later on. But for now, Rory Polero, Matt Hummel here in the studio, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your dedication to tonight and bringing this service to people live in Chautauqua County.
Well, thank you for helping us to be able to do that. This is one of those things I live for. The World Series and election nights.
Exactly.
And even I can say this honestly, it could be the Democratic primary, the Republican primary, the Libertarian Party primary, the Socialist Party primary. I don't care. I just love election nights. I go back to canvassing the 1968 presidential election, and I remember I ran the tote board at Democratic headquarters when I was like 14 or 12 or something for the mayoral race.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor and Jim Roselli and I kept running the numbers on a chalkboard.
You knew Jim Roselli?
I knew him a little bit.
Oh my gosh, what a legend! What a legend.
The voice of Jamestown.
Oh, I've read his.
He's
book
the Vince Scully
times.
of our city.
Mm-hmm.
A story that Rory brought up to me just came up to mind. I can't say it though.
No.
Off air.
Off air. Just so you know, our race just got a little closer, 78%, and Della Pia leads by 26 votes. So this is going back and forth. Boy, I hope they got on the phone and called all their relatives and said, "Mom, sis, make sure you vote."
Guys, I think somebody's going to have to deliver some coffee. You think Tim Hortons would deliver?
We'll have to maybe.
Well, we'll have to call her.
I don't believe they deliver. I think you have to call Grubhub or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
or you can order food on Uber now, I think.
Yeah, but then you're going to be paying $20 for 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah, but it'd be worth it. We need coffee.
I wouldn't say no.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Storm, where are you, buddy?
Right, I know. This is the time when we need an extra producer.
Now, Ian Golden is only 3% behind Andre now. That race is tightening up a little bit. I mean, it's still 460 votes difference, but he's gaining, whereas Sundquist is staying pretty much at 6%.
But that's crazy. It's, 26 votes between Dellapia and Tracy Matrano.
Yeah, with 22% of the districts left to report.
Right.
Now, this is why it becomes key to know which ones are still out there, because if Owego hasn't come in yet, that's going to go for Dellapia, you would think, although the Sundquist experience says not necessarily.
It seems
and
to
Ithaca,
show.
the votes being split between 2 people, although Matrano seems to have the edge there over Golden, big.
And-
so
and
she's taking Ithaca's vote.
And here's what I'm thinking personally. I think a lot of these districts that are reporting are just, I don't want to randomized, it's not the right word, but you could have most of the districts from Chautauqua County, some districts from Chemung County.
Yeah.
I agree with Rory. This is something where I wish we had a map that would
show us.
Because I'm really curious now. I'm actually...
Well, because it's going to determine the primary.
Holy
if
cow.
If my district hasn't come in yet, I look good. If my district already came in, I got to hope I stole some votes in the other parties, the other candidates.
And 79% in now. It's a 6-vote lead for Max Dellapia. Wow.
I just updated. I didn't see that.
Oh, I just hit. I keep hitting refresh.
So do I.
So exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's 79%.
Wow,
See,
yeah, that
here's
is
been the
tight,
swing. This has been the interesting swing. With 68% in, Matrano had a 156 vote lead. With 72%, it was Dellapia by 7. Then it went up to 75. Then it fell to 26, and now it's at 6. So you can almost gauge a map in this way. It's going for him, it's going for her, it's going for her, it's going for him, and it bounces back and forth. Like you can know that the districts that came in between 68 and 72% were Dellapia districts. Then the districts at 77, 78, and 79% were Matrano districts.
Wow. I'm
It's a tight race.
I don't know. I haven't. Okay, and granted, I'm only 20, so I don't have as much experience as Mr. Rory P. over here. But in my lifetime, at least locally, I can't think of something that's been as close at this point.
I'd have to go back a ways, and I'd have to ruminate on it a little bit to see.
Right.
I don't really remember one that came down to 6 votes.
This is kind of what you get when you have 5 candidates. I mean, there's so many of them. It's so saturated. The poll really is, and it can be difficult to figure out.
All right, here's a scenario.
That's why it keeps it so tight.
Exactly. Here's a scenario. Let's say that Dellapia hangs on and beats Matrano. How much did fellow Ithacan Ian Golden's candidacy hurt her?
Right.
Were there people that would have voted for her except he was in the race? Did he cost her, or
Very good thinking.
because you could take votes away from me, but if you take enough that I lose, then it's your fault as much as it's mine, I
It's
guess.
kind of like the third party effect.
Yes.
Right, which we saw in the 2016 presidential election. We saw that with Hillary Clinton, in my opinion. We saw that with and Jill Stein, that she took votes from Hillary Clinton because people pulled out at the last minute. And, obviously this is on a much smaller scale, of course.
Well, no, it's true, though, because had Bernie Sanders run third party, Trump would have won by even more, I believe.
I agree.
Hubert Humphrey blamed Wallace for losing in 68. And then you had John Anderson ran in, I think it was 76. Ross Perot So there have been some third-party guys
a name I haven't
who
heard
put
in a
up.
while.
Yeah, that is a.
But on a local scale, we don't really get third-party candidates, so that's why it's important to look and say, where are these people from? So yeah, it's still a six vote lead.
And that's with 81%.
Dellapia.
You know, it's funny because I just received a message from one of our viewers who I'm also Facebook friends with. And she, well, I guess without revealing her party, she's interested in this, I'll say that, in this race. And she's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And I'm like, boy, you're asking me this? I'm sitting here like, holy cow.
Right.
Well, I didn't expect it to be this. I expected it to be close. I figured within 2 to 3 points, 4 points at the most. I'm actually shocked that I'm getting it right. Because, like I say, my method was so unscientific that maybe this election should be decided by a flipped coin, you know?
Right.
How frustrating would that be to run this well and then lose on a heads and tails? But I don't know if that's the case in the primaries. Certain loss.
Right. We'll be right back.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
The weather is heating up, and so are the deals at Express Bike and Auto, right here in Jamestown, located at 1761 Foot Avenue Extension. They are your one-stop shop for all of your vehicle, ATV, and motorcycle needs. They even sell vehicles, and guess what? Financing is available. So what are you waiting for? Get to Express Bike and Auto right here in Jamestown at 1761 Foot Avenue Extension now.
And welcome back to election night on WNY News Now for the Democratic primary. We have some breaking news right now. 83% of the precincts reporting across the entire 23rd district. Matt Hummel. Looks like Tracy Matrano is... It's so tight.
I'm curious because now I refreshed it. We're at, well, and I'm going to give it one more refresh, but...
We're at, what, 15 votes?
Yeah, now it's 15. On there it's a little different, but it's still 83% in. I'm wondering if... See, I'm thinking that a lot of these percents that are on there, I think they're almost estimated, because I think the real percent probably has a decimal.
Well, I was going to say...
Because now they're tied.
I don't think they're tied?
I just refreshed here.
I just refreshed.
Like tie percent or tie
tie
vote?
percent.
Oh, yeah, they're tied percent, but it's 15 votes.
Right.
Oh, and now it's 18 votes at 84%.
Yeah, I think that the numbers come in at like 67.8%, and so they say 68%. I'm still getting 15 at 83. But again, I think what does this do for, let's say you're the candidate comes in second in such a close race. You carry a lot of power with the party now because you have a lot of voters that backed you, and you can take them with you with whoever you endorse.
Right.
So if one wins and the other one loses, it's very important to play ball with that one who came in second to get the unity of the party.
Right.
So, and the traditional thing is I will support my party, whoever wins. Even though I didn't win, I will support. And that's the typical. And you're right, it is 18 votes now for Matrano. And that's so close. And there's only, 68 districts to go. But the swing has been, from Matrano, was 156 votes ahead, got as far behind as 75 votes, and is now back up to an 18-point lead.
And what's very interesting to note, gentlemen, I want to cut to our live shot here at the Sunquest headquarters. They are glued to that screen. They're looking at the same data we are here. And very much such a tight race. and really, you see Judy Einock there, amazed at this.
To me, you almost have to wonder who Sundquist and his group are pulling for. Are they closer to Metrano, or are they? And I almost have to wonder if they'd be supporting Della Pia just because they lost to Metrano in their own county. It does make you wonder who they're pulling for.
I was going to say Della Pia for the reason of I know there was some political hostility, at least from what I've seen, between Metrano and Eddie recently. But then again, looking at the national scale, we saw some hostility between some Republicans and Donald Trump, and then towards the end, they're like Trump. So, I don't know.
Winning cures a lot of ills.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially at the national level. Gee, Mr. Trump, I came along and supported you. I'd love to be the secretary of whatever, or I'd really like to be our consulate to Luxembourg.
Right.
You know, I mean, so a lot of it can have to do with political favors. But in this case, I don't think so. I think in this case, it's just a matter of who they truly think is the strongest candidate for them. And I think that comes down to Metrano and Della Pia.
Now, I want to, if we can, in the control room, I believe we can, I want to take this screen. This is and Matt, I just sent this to you.
Oh, yeah, I got it. And that's some more updated, it looks like.
It's more updated, and it looks like it breaks it down. So if you're at home and you're watching this and you kind of want to see where this data is coming from, you go to on a web browser, nyenr.elections.ny.gov. And this breaks it down. I have it breaking down by county right now, it looks like. So this data here is all counties.
And how close do they have it? I can't really see the numbers from here with my glasses on.
Right. It looks like Metrano by
76.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's with how much percentage reporting?
Well, percent not sure, but yeah.
451 is the election district.
How many? 319?
Oh,
92.
And you know what? Also, I think we should stick more to this one, Justin.
Yeah, I think this is
because
more precise.
Not only that, but I just noticed as well, this is reporting that there's 451 election districts, and the other
to
this
Vox,
one,
Vox says 448.
Yeah, so this was on Vox's website.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is interesting because now at 87%, according to Vox, Metrano leads by 76.
Yep, and that's what we have.
And it looks like this does have the breakdown for the counties as well.
And Sundquist or Golden has closed to within 437 votes of Andre.
Now, how do you get to that, Justin?
I actually did some investigative reporting, and on that live shot at Sundquist headquarters, I noticed what site they were looking at.
Well, I saw that, but how do you get the county breakdown?
Oh, the county breakdown. If you go up to where it says districts, and then it says breakdown by county, you click yes. You change it to yes.
All right, I gotta scroll up.
It's like towards the top.
Oh, here we go.
You see it?
And from the latest results here from Vox, Sundquist votes are even. The gap is growing. He's at only 5%.
Right. And then Roy, I'm just gonna fix it on your computer so that you can get to.
Okay.
It's right here. So just excuse us for just a moment, folks, and then we can do county breakdown.
And I'm finding the breakdown now.
And you can switch the districts. We go 23rd.
That's contestant district 23.
And search. And then if you click auto refresh. Excuse us here. Just one moment, folks. We just
technical stuff going on.
Yeah, just technical stuff, and we'll just hit search again, and it should fix that. There we go.
There we go.
And looking here at Cattaraugus County, Linda Andre received, well, this is 32 out of 51 districts.
Right, they're still.
Thus far, Linda Andre is in the lead at 30.8%, and that's actually a commanding lead. In second place is Eddie Sundquist at 22.8%. So, yeah, I mean, I did not expect that.
Right.
But wow.
I don't think a lot of people did.
I think there's a lot of things, you know, that haven't been expected today, and we're being surprised. At least I am. Can't speak for you guys.
And you go just down the road a ways to Allegheny County, and the big winner in Allegheny County was Metrano with 260 votes, and Sundquist came in last with only 40.
Yeah.
Really?
So the further we get away from Jamestown,
the less people seem to support Sundquist,
which shows that he didn't go east like you had said.
Right.
But I think in the end, they're going to come together because they have a common foe in Tom Reed, and they're going to, you know, the old, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, which I don't necessarily believe. But in this case, they're going to say, you know what, candidate A beat candidate B. If I'm candidate B, would I rather have somebody who's of my own party or the other side of the aisle? Of course I want my party in power.
Right.
So I think they'll unify. I don't think that's an issue. And I think they'll work out whatever undercover grievances they may have.
Yep.
And you know, Rory,
they tend to do that.
The biggest thing for me watching primary elections is you look at, all right, explain to me what a primary election is. Well, it is pretty much radicals, so to speak, of that group, right? You look at the conservative primary election, the Republicans, the two major parties in the United States, and everyone who votes, they're a registered Republican. More than likely, they will always vote Republican. At least that's what
and
these
the primaries
groups like to rely on.
And the primaries here in New York are closed primaries.
Right, you
in
cannot
some states,
switch.
you can be a Republican
California, on
and
the
vote
other
in the
hand.
Democratic primary, or be a Democrat and vote in the Republican primary, which
and that
never
is
made sense to me.
Right, and that is up to the states. I know you think if you're gonna vote for your
Why
one
be a
party.
member of the party then?
Right. And the question is, and I don't know this question. If anyone out there knows, I'm looking at the comments. But can they vote in both? Then in open primaries, Matt, I don't know.
Say that again.
So in open primary states like California, are you able to vote in both of them, like Democrat, Republican? Do you know?
Ooh.
I don't know which states have open primaries.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure California is an open primary state.
Now, what's the third thing? There's open, closed, and then there's a third.
There is a third.
Now, also, do know, in case anybody's wondering, if it's a closed primary, if you're registered independent, you can't vote.
Right, in that
so.
goal. Okay, it looks like we just had a refresh here on the state site. If you click the auto refresh, Matt, it'll come up. I just want to look and see what some of the data is saying.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did refresh.
And it
26
looks
votes?
like
100, wait, no.
This one takes a little
76 votes still.
and only 20,000 votes so far.
Out of, this says there are 128,000 actively enrolled Democrats in the district. 128,565.
Seems kind of low.
See, and that's people who say, you know, it doesn't matter. Well, here's your opportunity to pick who's going to represent your party. And what?
Of course it matters.
Only 20,000 out of 128,000, a sixth of you come out to vote. And it's the same on the Republican side. It seems like in a non-presidential year, people are slow to go to the polls. And they only had 9 hours to do it today, so you can understand, I guess.
Yeah. That's true. They didn't have the full, you know.
Yeah, you know. I had to brush my cat's hair and brush my teeth, and, you know, there was that Rockford File marathon.
Oh, yeah, I can't forget that.
So
probably had the soap operas.
So I think that that even empowers your voice more. When fewer from a party are voting, those who do have more power than they would have had if more people would have voted.
Yeah,
right.
So that's what makes it very interesting as to how close this race is. I mean, the gap between Metrano and Della Pia is 0.27%. No, 0.37%. So 1/3 of 1% roughly is the difference.
Great math by Rory Valero.
Well, if it was a batting average, I'd get it pretty quick. I'd just like to point out. I think that this comes down to is Metrano better able to challenge Reed, or is Della Pia? Della Pia has the military card, and people love vets, so that would help him. But I also think Reed could be put in a trap if he faces Metrano, because if he comes on too hard against her, he starts to look sexist or something, which is an unfair advantage, because maybe he disagrees with her because he disagrees with her, and her gender has nothing to do with it.
But as we know, politics is unfair.
Right.
It absolutely is unfair.
And the thing is, the one thing that bugs me, guys, if we can kind of go on a little diatribe for a second.
Yeah.
You look at the history of politics, right? Something that I really like to study, and they were very nasty at the start of this country.
People were literally getting killed.
Killed over
Aaron Burr.
There was a shootout, a duel. Well, and today people say, "Oh, it's so nasty." This is tame if you read the books.
Yeah, but there are more people who are wimpy today than there were back then, because they had to tame the frontier.
Right.
We just have to go to the mall and hope our windshield wipers are working. I mean, there's a difference. But I think that, Andrew Jackson got shot in the well of the Senate, if I remember correctly, and he beat the guy with his walking stick.
Yeah. No Capitol Police.
and look at Thomas Jefferson. When he went through, they said that he was a whoremonger who slept with his slaves.
Mm-hmm. And that's the things that were said. So
that Washington wanted to be a king, that Adams was psychotic. There was elitist claims against Hamilton.
Nasty. I guess we'll have to see if any of these candidates are saying that here tonight.
I don't think so. I hope not.
Oh, man.
Election coverage continues right after this. There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you. The team that puts coverage first. We have some breaking news. Police confirming now that Steve Stevens was found dead in Erie, Pennsylvania.
This house is on fire and it's dangerously close to the Appleyard Terrace.
Fire crews battling another blaze.
It needs to be treated as the terrorist act that it is.
He got the ball, he just went to the hoop and he shot it.
And as for the star of the show, Tucker Pierce.
I think I feel good.
Proceeds from the Battle of the Classes going to the Alex Folk Foundation.
50 years of service and dedication to anything is very impressive. Put your lives on the line for your neighbors.
It's just something that I think people should do. You have to give back to the community.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first. And welcome back to WNY News Now, election coverage of the Democratic primary. Justin Gould, Rory Polero, and Matt Hummel are joining us here in studios. This race is tight, and it's getting tighter, Matt.
Yes, sir. With 411 districts in out of 451. I got to put the glasses on. It's so close. Tracy Metrano has a 33 vote lead.
33 votes.
Wow.
Ooh,
and you have to wonder, let's suppose you're sitting at home and you just didn't go vote today, and Della Pia is your candidate or Metrano's your candidate, and you say they don't need my vote. I'm sure across the district there are 33 supporters for both of them that didn't vote, planned on it and just didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And so you got to be sitting there thinking, yeah, I probably should have gone down to the precinct and pulled the lever. But Golden, not that third place matters because this isn't NASCAR. You don't get points for it. But he's really starting to close in. He's about 400 votes roughly behind Andre. But in percentage-wise, he's like let me see, about 1.8% difference. And so that's pretty good, considering how we were in there, there's actually the possibility that Sundquist is at 6%, 6.5%. Earlier he was at 5%. It doesn't look like he has enough to catch Golden because he's a good 7% behind. So the big battle is first and second, and then third and fourth could be anybody's too. But again, when you're talking 33 votes, that's a 43 vote decrease since the last tally.
And here's something that I just saw that could, and it's usually not a factor, but this could be a factor now. 14 blank votes, 7 voided votes,
33 write-ins.
So that's what, 54 right there?
Yeah.
Could that be the story?
I don't understand a void vote. They did it wrong, or you just didn't? You came in and voted but didn't pick a candidate.
I'm thinking perhaps you accidentally bubbled too. I mean, it is a bubbling system, I believe that.
Right? Yeah, you bubble.
So it's like those Scantrons where.
So it's a no more hanging Chad kind of story going on.
They don't like.
But that could, at least in my eyes, as a writer, that could be the lead.
Again, it's going to come down to absentee ballots, I think.
Well,
at least at this point.
Do you think it could come down
unless the districts that haven't come in yet, the precincts haven't come in yet, are in Metrano's backyard or Della Pia's backyard?
Well, and you know what? Actually, here's what I'm going to do, because it's going to be hard to do this, but what I'm going to do is on my computer, I'm going to take a look at the county breakdown. And let's look and see in that primary. I'm going to roll down to number 23. 23. Sorry, folks. Here we go. All right, so Allegheny County is set. Cattaraugus is now set at 51 out of 51. Chautauqua, all set, 51 out of 51. Chemung County, 90 out of 90. So, let's see.
So we need to look at their home counties.
Yeah, so Ontario's done, Schuler's done, Seneca's done. So there's 9 districts left in Steuben.
Okay.
And we've got, this is weird, 0 out of 31 reporting in Tioga. Now that's somebody's. I believe.
Let me see here. It's back to 76 votes from Metrano, according to what I have here. I don't know if that's the most accurate latest one.
Tompkins is done. Yates is done. So it looks to me like Tioga County could be the decider at this point.
Wow. Of course, this race is very tight. We'll stay here until the end. We'll be right back.
WNY News Now is sponsored by Chautauqua Audio Works, 3335 South Roberts Road in Fredonia. More than a music store. Call 679-4333. Call now, 679-4333.
The Fitness Bunker in Lakewood is a locally owned and operated club that cares about your health and wellness. They invest in it. Right now, $16 for 16 days will get you in the door. Lose 4 pounds, your next month is on them. Try a green zone class and maximize your performance. Hot yoga, 24/7 access. Simply walk into Fitness Bunker in Lakewood right now on Summit Avenue. Make an investment in your health and wellness. Fitness Bunker in Lakewood. Find them on Facebook.
Well, it just keeps getting more crazier, folks. 439 of election districts out of 451 have reported in. Max Delapia is now in the lead by 16 votes. And we were looking just before commercial or before break, and it looks like Tioga County is the one left that has some districts that have to come in. Guys, well, I did not expect this, Justin.
Yeah, it is so close here, and you're looking.
Oh,
now this. Let me refresh.
I'll refresh that because I got something else, but I'll let you say it.
Max Delapia, 32. Yeah.
Yeah, but
right.
Look at the vote total and look at the election districts.
448 of 451 reporting.
And,
we will know very soon.
And it's a oh my gosh, guys.
So close here. Yeah, and it looks like, Matt, so the only county, which was the county?
Tioga, I believe.
Right here, Tioga County, parts of Tioga. Only a part of Tioga County, because the entire district is not there. Delapia obviously very much in the lead there. And they have 28 of 31 districts reporting.
This is crazy. Gonna hit a refresh. Wow.
I believe this site's supposed to auto-refresh, but I don't think it...
I mean, and again, the write-ins, the blanks, the voids, depending on how the absentee ballots come out, those voids and those write-ins, they could actually be the
deciding factor, really.
Yeah, and I've never seen this.
Right. And that's... You look at, like we were saying, a race with all these candidates, that's the outcome, really, is the fact that you have so much in the pool, so many people in the pool, that it gets this close. And little numbers make a big difference, that's for sure.
Now, are you on your laptop, are you on the county breakdown? Or are you on the all?
I am on the county breakdown.
Can you look at Cattaraugus County real quick and see who won that? I had a viewer ask me, and
yep, looks like Cattaraugus. Eddie Sundquist actually pulled that one off.
Eddie Sundquist
did indeed pull that one off. 51 of 51 reporting. Eddie Sundquist with 331 votes. And it looks like, or no, I'm sorry, Andre is the, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, no, it is Andre, it is not Eddie Sundquist. Linda Andre with 331, Eddie Sundquist with 257.
Well, and I know how the website can get a little straining on your eyes, yeah.
Well, that's the only thing I don't like about the state site, is that it is very, if you, obviously you're watching here with us, it is very difficult to see with all the layers.
Well, I guess they think we like onions. Peel it back.
Yeah, you just gotta peel the layers.
All I can think about, have you ever seen Shrek?
I have, yeah.
The layers.
The layers. Just peel the layers. Peel the layers. All right, well, our Rory Polero stepped out for a minute. We'll take a break so he can get back in here because we miss him so much. We'll be right back.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
What matters to you matters to us. Every story, every day.
I sat down with the candidate following last night's meeting, an interview you will only see on WNY News Now.
Small, proud, and dedicated community that is shocked, angered, sad,
The old Dunkirk City School building has been remodeled and retrofitted with 21st century technology.
Feel demoralized in a sense by the power structure?
I don't really know. I mean, maybe, but there's just not a lot of information, I guess, to change some things, I suppose.
Chautauqua County Executive George Borrello is in the nation's capital right now, advocating for several water projects in the county.
This ban will ultimately lay down some more snow our way over the next 24 or so hours. Now, zooming the radar out.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Welcome back to election night coverage. Justin Gould, Ryan Hendrick, and Rory Polaro. We are watching a very tight race here in the 23rd Congressional District for the Democratic primaries. Really, guys, at this point, it could be the numbers. It's a numbers game. It is a percentage game. It is an absentee ballot game. Matt, it is so tight.
I'm telling you, it's going to be those blank void and write-ins.
Max Delapia by 14 votes.
Yeah, and now you have that on yours, right, with 3 districts left, right?
This says 448 of 448
Yep, that's
reported.
what we have, yep.
So does that mean he's the winner? No, because I'm sure there's at least 14.
Well, you have
absentee ballots.
Yeah, well, you still have 3 districts, right? Because it's 448 out of 451.
Yeah, but see, Vox is reporting 448.
You know what? And that's what I thought. But what I suggested maybe to Justin during the break was we stick with the New York State government website. And that's just because it's a government website.
Right. Yeah, Vox is, and we can show you guys Vox here if I just switch this. This is what the Vox looks like. And this data here is what is just troubling because we don't actually have, the numbers are not correct. So no offense to the people at Vox, but in our opinion, it looks like the Board of Elections site is more accurate.
Yeah, so there's 3 districts that Vox isn't looking at.
Right, they're not collecting. And that may very well be, let me scroll down, maybe we can find out what districts they are.
Well, and they have a 14-vote lead for Delapia.
It looks like the portion of Tioga County is the only district still not reporting. So maybe they're just not counting Tioga?
That could be, and also you'll notice this especially towards the end of races. I know people are probably wondering why the heck is this still going on.
Right,
well,
it's almost midnight.
The districts that haven't reported yet probably have heard through somewhere, and I'm talking about the people that tally the votes.
Right.
They probably have heard
through media or otherwise.
Otherwise, that it's so close. Go back, recount. Anything can happen. I mean, we know this. Electronic stuff can screw up.
I don't think there'd be a recount unless one or the other candidate requested it. Though,
right. But no, Matt, you're right.
No,
it's kind of like
I should rephrase. You're right. I should rephrase. It's more of
make sure this
take
is right
your
before
time.
we send it in.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And that, we're looking here at the Tioga vote. I mean, obviously, Delapia has won that county, right? Or the portion of that county that is in this district.
Yeah, but that obviously isn't in the play. It's
right.
One of
the, it's whether or not, because this is the only district that's reporting. So it's whether or not left. So it's whether or not he gets more votes, or does it go to someone else? And then that obviously will affect, as we scroll all the way up to the top here, the total between Delapia and Metrano, which is very close. And as we talked about, gentlemen, Tracy Metrano, at least here in Chautauqua County, seemed to be the favorite, in my opinion. And she won that here in Chautauqua County. Will she win the district? We hopefully will know in the next few minutes here. Hopefully.
More like...
yeah. I'm kind of surprised because she won pretty proportionally in Allegheny County, but you look at how close Cattaraugus County was. I mean, your leader had 331 votes, and last place was 136, but everybody was pretty much around 20% except for Andre, who won it, and Golden, who came in last.
And guess what? According to the New York State website,
at
11:33 p.m. with 451 election districts in, Max Delapia has the lead with votes at 7,022 to 6,996 for Tracy Metrano, 14 blanks, 7 voids, 34 write-ins.
Wow.
Okay, well, we know the write-ins aren't for either one of them.
Correct.
He's got a 26-vote lead as the unofficial final tally, right?
So at this point, then, it appears that Delapia is our projected winner. Would you guys concur with that? I mean, it's
still
really
too close to call.
I have to say too close to
Until
call.
the absentee ballots come
because
in.
there's going to be a lot of absentee ballots. Excuse me.
Right.
I say at this point, guys, too close to call.
I agree. I agree. And I'm surprised that, like I say, I expected 3-4 points difference.
Right.
But for him to be ahead and only a 26-vote margin, both are a surprise to me.
Right. 26 votes is...
That's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, there are probably 26 Democrats and within the 1 block radius at my house.
Right.
So that's...
Right. That is just... but at this point, Max Delapia appears to be favored.
Is this probably the key to the victory then? How well he did in Tioga? He got 65% of the vote there, and Metrano got 14%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm stunned at the moment.
I'm impressed.
I'm impressed. Yeah,
I would have liked
agree
to
with
have
you, Rob.
seen more turnout. I always want more turnout because it's a democratic system. You get out there, you vote. If you don't vote, there are 2 schools of thought. If you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain. Or if you don't vote, we can't blame you. So you can take either side of it. But I like to see better turnout. I like to see that the party came in and said, this is a mandate who we want. Not, 10 of us voted for this guy or 11 voted for this woman and they won, so that's it. When, 30,000 people stay home or whatever.
Right.
I like to see a turnout.
Now, what I'm going to look at here, if I can, and I can't find it. What I was trying to find was when the official results are, certified and everything, and when they have the absentee ballots collected.
It's within a few days.
Yeah. And
I think they have so many days by law.
That's what it looks like, yep.
The thing is, I do think this is kind of sad that out of, according to this site, I just lost it again. I was trying to see, it said how many, okay, there are 128,565 actively registered Democrats in the 23rd district.
Right.
21,619 voted.
Wow, that is extremely low turnout.
And that's sad because primary election is the closest you're going to get to having an actual say.
Right. And as we've seen this evening.
Absolutely.
As we've seen this evening. So gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Yes, sir.
We'll conclude our broadcast. Great coverage by you. Right now, too close to call, but Max Delapia is at least favored in the numbers that we have at this moment from the New York State Board of Elections. Absentee ballots will be counted in the next few days, and at that point, it may or may not be confirmed, but definitely Delapia, Metrano, right there, those are the 2 that very well could win it.
We're going to know, or we might not. If it's still close after that, I could see one candidate or the other calling for a recount.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this isn't, you're not running for neighborhood dog catcher. You're running to be a member of the United States Congress.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
An excellent coverage. Of course, join us tomorrow live here at noon. We'll see you then.